The quality of the questions that you ask yourself determine the quality of your life. And unfortunately, the majority of people ask very, very mediocre questions throughout their life. Basic survival questions. How do I earn more money? How do I get more food? How do I get more status? How do I get more sex? And that boxes our mind in. We contract around these very, very basic set of queries that we're sending out into reality. And if you want to have an amazing life, a unique experience here on Earth, you need to ask amazing questions, deep questions. Every question that you ask acts like a search query that you're putting out there into reality, essentially trying to find and uncover the deepest answers. And everything is figure-outable. Most people are too afraid to ask, or they're too absorbed in their basic needs, basic survival concerns, to ask unique, special, interesting questions, or they lack the patience to be able to actually find the answers, because not every answer comes as soon as you search it, just like it does on Google. I was spending some time with a very dear friend of mine last night, a brother who's also doing this kind of work. We connect very, very deeply because we are both very purpose-driven, committed to this kind of work and this vision of creating personal growth and development content and really helping people, transmitting a unique visionary kind of message out there into the world. And I was reflecting on the quality of the conversation that we had. We spent hours and hours last night, staying up until midnight around the campfire, just vibing with such a beautiful frequency of connection. And it was really determined by the kinds of questions and answers that we were giving each other. Something that I deeply appreciate about him is that he asked the kinds of questions that pulled out of me my deepest stuff. It wasn't superficial chit-chat. It wasn't small talk. It was like piercing straight to the essence of who I am. He asked me about how was it to lose your father? What were some of the biggest challenges? What have you learned from this? And through his beautiful curiosity into my inner world, that opened me and opened not just me to him, but me to myself. And I became aware of aspects of my own development, the stages that I've been through, the qualities and characteristics that I'm developing. They became much more clear to me because of his curiosity. And I in turn returned the gift to him. And this created this beautiful symbiosis, this kind of emergent wisdom that came from the questions that we were asking each other. And I've really seen that this has been a sort of recurring motif in my life, that I've never really wanted to settle for simple questions, superficial questions. Of course, I think it's really good to actually tackle those. We do need to earn money. We do need to be attractive to other people. We need to get our needs met. We need to, have sex and have beautiful relationships and satisfy our worldly desires. But we also need to go beyond that. We also need to ask deep metaphysical existential questions. Why is there something rather than nothing? What is reality? What is consciousness? What is any of this? Why am I here? What's my purpose for existing? And when you ask these kind of questions, and if you're prepared to sit with them for long enough to actually discern some meaningful answers, these kind of questions will change your life. They will change who you are as a person. They will grow you in ways that you can't even imagine. And if you can develop a habit of asking these kinds of deep, powerful questions to yourself, and also in the presence of the people who you feel most connected to, this will be it's like a self-development mindset hack. If you can cultivate that throughout your life, where you start is one thing, where you end up God knows, who knows? Because the rabbit hole, it just keeps going and going and going. And you never really discover how deep it goes unless you ask those kind of questions. And it's through that kind of questioning that I have discovered the most life-changing insights, the most profound spiritual truths, the gateway into much deeper intimacy, trust, turn on, passion in my relationship. And it all comes from that curiosity, that open-mindedness to say, okay, I haven't got it all figured out. I know that there is so much more to reality, to myself, to other people than what meets the eye, than in what we see at the surface. And I'm fucking curious about that. I'm passionate. I'm deeply, deeply curious about finding out the answers. Now, of course, in order to get to asking those kind of questions, we need to have a certain foundation. We need money, we need healthy relationships, we need sex, and to have our needs met. It's just really, really important that we don't stop there. We want to cultivate a radically curious mindset that is constantly questioning and not settling for the basic set of assumptions and questions that we sort of inherit from our family, from society, from the mass media, because this keeps us stuck in a very small frame. And one of the best things is when you can find other human beings who resonate with this kind of open-mindedness and curiosity and surround yourself with them. I'm very, very intentional about who I spend my time with these days. And I make sure that the people that I spend my time with, for the most part, are the ones that actually guide me and help facilitate the deepening of the relationship with myself and, with them as well. And if I find myself spending time with people who don't facilitate that, I limit the amount of time. Because as you age, the more you start to appreciate how fucking pricelessly precious your time is. You really don't have time to waste. And I would usually rather be spending time alone or with very specific people than wasting my time. Even if it means I earn more money or, whatever, get some form of social validation. I'm so much more fascinated by asking deep questions, meditating, journaling, contemplating, and finding those choice individuals who resonate on a certain frequency, that when you spend time with them, you leave like energized, inspired, elevated, lit up by their presence. Because then that's a virtuous cycle. Spending time with them feeds you, feeds them, and we're rising together. We're becoming more conscious together. And part of my New Year's intention is to just really, really surround myself with those kind of people and be kind of ruthlessly effective with my time, because I want to be doing more of this. I want to be spending time getting into my creative flow, having insights, asking those big questions. And, the bigger questions that you ask, the more time you need to chew on them. Some of those questions will sit on the back burner for weeks, months, perhaps even years or decades before you can truly find or discover the answers that you've been looking for. But I tell you what, the longer you can ask and sit with not knowing, the more profound the satisfaction and the surprise that comes when you finally discover the answers that you've been looking for. So I guess the motto of today is to have the courage, the tenacity, the deeply curious, the deeply curious mind that is just insatiably hungry for the answers to the questions that have been burning inside your soul. Hey. What a beautiful day to be alive.